Hey guys, welcome to this week's video. For those of you that are new to my channel, my name is Lauren and I am a financial coach. So this week we are going to be talking about your inner critic, what it is, why it exists, and then ways we can reprogram it. So let's get started. When it comes to our thoughts, there are two main sources from which they originate. Thoughts either come to us through voices in our heads that are giving us constant commentary all day and sometimes all night, or they come from a deeper place, the place where we hold our core thoughts, our core beliefs that account for our judgments, our opinions, and our perspective. I have quite a few other videos on my channel that talk about core beliefs and how to combat those that are limiting or in some way are not beneficial, so please make sure to check those out. But today, we're going to be talking about the thoughts that come to us through our self-talk, or what I'm going to be referring to often as our inner voice. And that inner voice can be like our bestie, right? The cheerleader in our corner that's clapping at every victory and accomplishment that we have, or is there to soothe us when we have heartbreak or tragedy. But for a lot of us, that inner voice can tend to be really critical the majority of the time. It can be debilitating and really harsh. So it's really important for us to recognize our inner voice and reshape it when necessary, because it's ultimately responsible for all of our outcomes in life. And this is because of the simple fact that our thoughts drive our emotions, which then drive our decisions, which then drive our behaviors and action or inaction, and ultimately lead to our results or outcomes or lack of results. Crazy, right? Now you understand the real importance of our thoughts. Good thing we can actually transform our thoughts, because we're not born with either that cheerleader Susie or negative Nancy. Instead, our inner voice was developed by those beliefs that we hold deep within ourselves, or the beliefs of others, the world around us, and what we've experienced, witnessed, and even been taught. So the great news is we can all be reprogrammed. And not in some weird, creepy sci-fi movie kind of way, but in a way that serves us better in our life. We can make it so that our inner voice is less critical, less self-defeating, but also still honest and truthful and holds us accountable. So let's start getting real about our self-talk. So I want you to think for a minute about the general predisposition of your inner voice. What percentage of the time is your inner voice doing the following? Number 1, putting you down, criticizing you, pointing out all the negative about you. Number 2, making excuses, placing blame on others, never taking responsibility and playing the victim. Or number 3, always there to soothe you and remind you that you're going to be okay and that everything that presents itself in life gives us lessons to be learned. Now, please don't beat yourself up if you have high percentages for number 1 and number 2. I mean, your inner voice is already beating you up enough, so go easy. It might make you feel better to know that the majority of people have an inner voice that is predominantly negative towards themselves. But we want to make some changes so that we don't continue to allow this inner critic to negatively impact our lives and our businesses. One really important point is that there is a huge difference between your inner critic and you. You are not the same thing. In fact, let's go ahead and name that inner critic so that we mentally keep it separate from us. I personally like to call my inner critic Deb. And I don't know why. I know a lot of really nice Debs, but for some reason, my inner critic kind of channels the name Deb. So please take a minute, shouldn't take you much longer than that, to name your inner critic. Whatever feels right for you. I'm telling you, this is going to be really helpful, even though it seems crazy. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to keep calling inner critics Deb, because that's my inner critic, okay? So now let's go and put Deb in her place. So the next time you catch Deb trying to start like a dumpster fire in your mind, I want you to try to use the following 3 techniques to regain power and silence Deb. Okay, number 1, ignore her. Number 2, protect her. And number 3, observe her. Okay, so I realize the second 2 probably need a little bit more explanation. The first one, ignoring her, that's pretty clear. But when she starts going off on some negative tangent about how much you suck, imagine her as some crazy woman. Some lady that wears like a fur coat in the middle of the summer and has more makeup on than some like 1980s glamour shots photo. Okay, maybe that's a weird reference, but that's what I picture my Deb being. So Deb is not you. And honestly, like she doesn't know what she's talking about, so she deserves to be ignored. Okay, so that's number one, ignore. Number two, I said protect her. Now, what does that mean when I say protect her? Well, Deb is really easily influenced by outside people and opinions all around her. So just like we monitor what TV our kids watch or what they see on the computer or the kids they hang out with, we want to monitor and protect poor Deb. So don't let the media, celebrities, family members, the random woman you bump into at CVS or others impose their thoughts or opinions on poor impressionable Deb. Shelter her from anything untrue or detrimental because she's gullible. And then she's pretty persuasive when she repeats those opinions or feelings. And lastly, number three, observe your Deb. It's really important to try to notice what Deb is talking about, what she's focused on, what she's stuck on. What is your Deb getting needlessly all amped up about? Help her generate some new thoughts, some more positive and beneficial thoughts. This is also called redirecting. Think of when your kid wants to play with slime and glitter all over your kitchen table, and perhaps you redirect them towards the magnetiles where they could make a nice, clean tower. It's the same kind of thing we want to do with Deb. Because remember, you are in charge. But just like a toddler, Deb might continue to need some redirection. She may be doing really great, and then one day just hop on the negative train and start saying some horrible things to you. And she may be really sneaky about it too once you start calling her out. But eventually, just like our kids, hopefully, she will someday need less redirection and she'll start to generate more positive and beneficial self-talk the majority of the time. Okay, so what are some of our takeaways from this week's video? Number one, our inner voice can be our biggest cheerleader, but also our biggest critic. Another takeaway is that our thoughts drive our emotions, which drive our decisions, which in turn drive our actions or behaviors or inaction, and ultimately are responsible for our results and outcomes. Another takeaway that's really important to recognize is that our inner thoughts or our inner voice was developed based on our core beliefs that we hold because of things that we've witnessed, the people around us, the things that we've experienced, and the things that we were taught. However, the beauty is our inner voice or our inner critic can be reprogrammed to better serve us. Another main point is that you are not your inner critic. So name it. I chose Deb. What did you choose? And then the last main takeaway is that you want to ignore, protect, and observe your Deb. As you know, I like to end my videos with some action items for you to take so that you can actually take all this information and implement it in a beneficial way into your life. So what I want you to do now is grab 5 pieces of paper and a pen or a pencil. Okay, 5 pieces of paper. It's okay if they're the back of something. On each piece of paper, you're going to do the following, and then you're going to review those pieces of paper daily for a week. Okay, so here's what you're going to do on each piece of paper. First, you are going to write down at the top a lie that your inner critic tells you. Okay, then you're going to skip some space and you're going to write another lie in that same category that your inner critic tells you. And what do I mean by category? For instance, maybe it's organizational skills, maybe it's your body image or your parenting abilities or your finances, etc. You're going to keep doing this, skipping a space and writing a new lie within that category until you've gone through all of the lies in that category. Then you're going to take another piece of paper, the next piece of paper out of your 5, and you're going to do the same thing for a new category. Now, once you've filled out those 5 pages, here's the important part. You're going to go back in the spaces that you left under each lie, and you are going to write the truth. You are going to rewrite that thought, but by saying the truth. Now, the truth may be the complete opposite of that lie, or it just might be a softer way to make that statement. I want you to try to avoid using negative statements. I want you to use positive statements. And what I mean by that is, if your lie was, I am dumb, okay? Your truth, I don't want you to write, I'm not dumb. Instead, I'd like you to write something like, I'm intelligent and I have the ability to keep learning. So try to avoid using a negative statement, the words no, not, never, and instead reframe it with a positive statement. Okay, now the next thing you're going to do, remember you're reviewing these for 7 days daily. On day 7, you're going to take a really dark black permanent marker or something thick, and you are going to cross off all of the lies, leaving just the truth to remain. Okay, so you're going to cross off every lie on those 5 sheets and only leave the truth. And you're going to review those truths as needed until your inner critic, your Deb, recognizes that those are the truth. That is the new self-talk. Okay, that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please click the like button below and make sure to subscribe if you haven't already so that you can receive all of my new content as it drops and it goes right into your subscription feed. Have a great day. See you next week.